As of late, I am quite excited about the competition between mid-range smartphones. These phones are trying their best to come at something new. Some give us 4-camera phones, while the others give us an in-display fingerprint scanner, while the others are giving high-end specs at a reasonable price, and there still seems to be a lot more coming. These smartphones are battling it out, and as long as we the consumers get new and interesting stuff, it's quite alright. Anyways, today we have with us the Oppo F9, which has recently made its way into the Nepali market and features something called a Waterdrop display. As usual, let's start off with the design. The Oppo F9 is quite an appealing device. The design is such that it gives off a shiny appearance of a glass body. At first glance, you might not even notice its plastic construction, but you will certainly feel the difference in your hands. The Huawei Nova 3i takes the lead when it comes to premium feel, but I like what Oppo has done with the gradient back color and the diamond patterns. If only it was a glass body, I wouldn't have wished for any improvement on the design front. I have with me the red version, which Oppo likes to call Sunrise Red, but if you're not a fan of this color, there are other variants available too. As for aesthetics, the power button is placed at the right with the volume rockers as well as the SIM/memory card slot just above it. The button placement is quite convenient, and though the device is large, it's very comfortable to reach all of them. Similarly, at the bottom there's a single speaker grill and the micro USB port right-sided, a noise cancellation mic, and not to miss the headphone jack. The back houses nothing but the dual cameras, an LED flash, a fingerprint sensor which is easily reachable, and the Oppo branding just below the sensor. The Oppo F9 feels quite light on hands and is also very comfortable to hold. While the Nova 3i felt slippery, this one gives you quite a grip. But since this is a large device, one-handed usage can be a struggle. A Waterdrop display sounds fancy. Well, it's actually called so because the tiny little notch at the top looks like a drop of water, and this is the smallest notch we have seen after the Essential phones. The small notch houses nothing but the selfie camera and very cleverly hides the speaker grills right above it. Well, there's no fancy dual cameras on this one, but again, the question is, do you really need one? But we will get to that bit shortly. Moving on, the device has a 6.3 inches IPS LCD FHD Plus display panel. And as I already said in my hands-on video, it's quite vibrant, has good colors and good viewing angles, which pretty much accounts for a good display experience overall. The sunlight legibility is also excellent as the display is very bright. Also, while watching videos or playing games, the small notch is less obstructive, and same is the case with Instagram stories. The F9 gives you a 19.5:9 aspect ratio with very thin bezels. So viewing content on this one has been a pleasing experience. Another welcoming trait of this device is that it is one of the very few devices to feature Corning Gorilla Glass 6, which is very ambitious for a mid-range smartphone. Now, cameras. Oppo claims itself to be the selfie expert and leader, so we had to put the cameras on a test, and the selfie camera does impress you. It's a 25 megapixel shooter with focal 2.0 aperture. The selfies are bright, vibrant, and pack in good amount of colors. Just look at these selfies. You have a lot of effects for selfies too, like selfie portrait effect, which is purely software. The result is, however, of average quality with slightly inaccurate depth sensing. Now moving on to the rear cameras, there's a 16 megapixel sensor and a 2 megapixel depth sensor on the dual camera setup. Apart from the pictures having slightly inaccurate color reproduction, other aspects seem covered quite well by Oppo. The pictures appear to be full of life, details are well preserved too. However, in the portrait images, you cannot turn off beautification, which sets me off a little bit. You do have various lighting options for portrait, which sounds fancy, but they're not very impressive. Most of the times, portrait images lose details and the edge detection is not very proper either. The camera does identify objects, which again is a form of AI that most of the smartphones have nowadays. Upon recognizing the objects and scenery, a small icon appears on the top right corner indicating that the AI has successfully identified the object. It will then tweak some settings thereafter, adjusting the colors and so. It is not very accurate though. Like with the front camera, there's a super vivid mode on the back that acts to add saturation to pictures, but I like the normal images better. The HDR feature does work, but I didn't find a lot of difference with the HDR on. Similarly, like the Vivo V11 Pro, there's Google Lens built in the cameras, which is an added feature. That was our full review of the Oppo F9. Do subscribe to our channel and hit that bell icon.